Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Friday Charge, brought to you by Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian, and today, February 20th, 2026, we've got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about Ford's Universal EV. We're going to talk about Volvo finally doing something cool. I say finally, they've been doing cool stuff this whole time. It's finally on a specific topic. There's been a study that come out that shouldn't surprise anybody, and we're going to talk about Polestar a little bit. So, without further ado, let's plug in and get started. All right, our first topic of the night. Ford has given us a teeny tiny bit more information about its Universal EV platform. Ford on Tuesday this week gave a small peek behind the curtain for its upcoming Universal EV, and let's dig into what we can glean from it. Just for starters, Ford is still intending for the first UEV vehicle to be a compact pickup truck. Think Ford Maverick-sized, maybe somewhere between Maverick and Ranger, okay? Not huge, not tiny, practical, maybe, depending on your needs. Anyway, and Ford is still sticking to a starting price around $30,000. Ford says the new truck will be the, quote, most aerodynamic on the market. And the intent here is to squeeze out more range to then allow the battery pack to be smaller and therefore cut costs. You're going to hear me say the phrase cut costs quite a few times throughout this topic. Ford is also doing tons of work to reduce part count in the vehicle. One example mentioned is that the mirror housing uses one motor for adjustment and for folding in. Similar to how the Volvos work, if you remember how they had the cool frameless mirrors where the entire housing moved around. Same principle here. By doing this, Ford was able to cut out a motor and make the mirror housing, I think I put the number. I didn't put the number. I think it was 21% smaller, which improves aerodynamics and therefore helps them cut costs on battery. Ford has also committed that this is going to be a software-defined vehicle with more centralized computers to reduce the amount of wiring and the total number of ECUs, which, you guessed it, reduces weight and cost. Reducing weight improves efficiency, improves range, smaller battery. Ford also claims that since Ford will now fully own the software stack, they're going to be able to roll OTA updates much more efficiently. No more waiting for individual suppliers to validate changes. This is huge. I mean, I don't know if you've kept up any with the kind of the Ford OTA cycle, but it really feels like it's like some form of black magic, it seems like.
Really? I've not been keeping up with it. That's pretty cool.
So Ford will release an OTA update, and you'll have people who get it immediately, and you'll have people that don't get it for months or years or ever. And you'll have it where it'll come out and they'll release it for the 2024 model year. And then the 2023 model year will take a year before it gets it. And the 2022 model year might get it immediately as well. And essentially what it boils down to is since Ford was using a lot of supplier-based parts for these vehicles, they have to then validate the software on every different variant of the hardware used. And so if a supplier mid-2023 model year switched a controller of some form from revision A to revision B, well, now the software has to be validated on revision B. And if at some point they start putting revision A in the car again, you end up with an inconsistency. Anyway, since Ford is now saying that they will fully own the software stack, that means Ford will be fully in control of OTA updates, which means hopefully that is an issue of the past. Ford has also stated the vehicle is going to use a 400-volt LFP battery pack built here in the U.S. Ford is claiming that their LFP cells should be the cheapest available in the U.S. Ford claims they're using a 400-volt pack to cut costs. They claim that they could have gone 800-volt, but the cost of engineering that would not have been worth it compared to the cost of not engineering it. The UEV will also be Ford's first car to use a structural battery pack, meaning the battery is the entire floor of the car. Ford claims that this allows them to lower the roofline, which therefore, you guessed it, improves aero.
Yep.
The UEV platform will also be moving to 48-volt for powering the car's computers and accessories. Most cars just if you're unaware, most cars on the road today, except for, the Cybertruck, currently still rely on 12-volt power for these systems. By moving to 48-volt, you can use thinner wires or supply more power over the same size wiring, which helps to reduce costs and cut weight and all that jazz. Did you get a theme yet? Have you picked up
Yep.
on it yet? Okay, good.
And I'd rather
here's
cut it this way than other ways. So,
But here's the real question we don't still know. There's still not a firm time frame. We still don't have firm pricing. We still don't have any firm idea of what this thing is going to look like. And Ford has promised a bunch of stuff here.
they have.
But can we be faulted for having some hesitancy on believing that they will deliver it?
Cautiously optimistic.
You know, I love the Ford Lightning. Wearing the hat, that was not intended.
I have the cup back here.
But you and I both remember that truck was supposed to start at, what was it, 35 grand?
Well, didn't the original like first month or two it was $39.9 for the.
Oh, maybe that was it. Maybe it was $39.9. Maybe,
but
it
was like $39.9 for like 6 weeks, then it went up to $49, and then it slowly went up. Yeah,
whoop, because they couldn't do it. And now kudos to Ford, they tried. They did sell a few at that price. But like, this is another area, you know, they're saying it's going to be 30 grand. They're saying it's going to be 30 grand. Is it going to be 30 grand for 6 weeks? Or is it legitimately going to be a $30,000 car? Or 31, 32, whatever.
Yep.
And so it's just like, after things like that, it's reasonable to then assume, like, have a little bit of hesitancy. Like, is it going to actually deliver on all of the things we're promising?
Yep.
That said, I am excited about this. I mean, I'm hoping it's a winner. I could see, you know, I'm somebody who could probably use a small or mid-sized truck. I'm not necessarily the target audience, I feel like, for a big brodozer or a big full-size pickup truck, but I could see myself, you know, having a little 4-foot bed just to randomly grab large items off Facebook Marketplace or move appliances, whatever else. Like, that seems right up my alley.
Yes, since you move appliances all the time, Sebastian. So,
hey, I've had to do it more recent. I mean, how long did I sit there and try to figure out a way to haul a water heater?
That's right.
Because getting one delivered was going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. So looking at the article, 20% fewer parts, 25% fewer fasteners, 15% faster, 15% faster assembly line, lower cost of ownership over 5 years than a 3-year-old Tesla Model Y. That I don't understand that part.
What do you mean?
Like lower cost of ownership over 5 years than a 3-year-old Tesla Model Y. So Tesla's Model Y has to be 3 years old. What is that?
They're just using, I guess it's just comparing like what the cost of ownership is on the 3-year-old Model Y. So I'm assuming this is going to build down to, they're saying that this should be more efficient or X, Y, you know, more cost effective, more whatever, and therefore it will cost you less to own compared to a 3-year-old Model Y.
So are you thinking like, for some reason Hyundai Santa Cruz pops in my mind. That size is what I'm thinking. Is that what you're thinking too?
I mean, they've pretty hard. It seems like they've pretty strongly alluded to the Ford Maverick.
Okay.
Which is similar size to the Santa Cruz. I think the Maverick might be a teeny tiny bit smaller. I honestly don't remember. Or it might be some weird, like, cabin is smaller, bed is bigger.
I think maybe the second row in the Maverick is probably smaller than
the second row of the Maverick is very tight.
Yes.
We at one point looked at a Maverick, but I decided it just wasn't doable for me to be 6 foot tall and my wife to, you know, like, I couldn't. I felt like it wouldn't have been a comfortable ride. To do any sort of long drive again. And we like the Santa Cruz quite a bit, but I've always been baffled by Hyundai's decision to not offer a hybrid. Especially considering the Santa Cruz is based on the same platform as the Hyundai Tucson, which is available as not only a hybrid, but also a plug-in hybrid. And now the Santa Cruz is being discontinued. R.I.P.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know. That's breaking news.
Didn't know that? They're discontinuing the Santa Cruz.
Oh wow,
which is a disappointment because I really like those things.
Yeah, my son, we were when my son was actually looking at cars. He's like, "Dad, I really like a Santa Cruz." Like, we're not getting you a new Santa Cruz, dude. You're 16 years old. Heck no.
But yeah, I really like the thing, but I guess they must not sell well enough, or through tariffs or whatever else, it just doesn't make sense to Hyundai to still offer it here. Anyway, we're not talking about the Santa Cruz here.
Nope. So yeah, going back to Ford, I mean, I guess I'm in the show me stage. I mean, you could talk a lot. And they may deliver. If they do, that's great. But I gotta see what this is like. And I mean, we're not far away. They said what, 2028?
2027, I think, is still what they're kind of claiming. And that's, again, we're getting pretty dang close. And this has been a criticism I've seen online. I can understand why Ford is doing it the way they're doing it, because you want to drum up hype. You want to drum up, you know, you want to feed the marketing machine. But I've seen valid criticism as it feels like every 6 months, Ford is giving us one of these press conferences where they say a lot without saying anything.
Yep.
Like, oh, cool. So we know that it's going to have LFP cells. We know that it's going to have a 400-volt battery. We know you're reducing ECU costs, whatever. That's very similar to what you told us 6 months ago.
Yeah.
When you announced the platform the first time. We knew the game this whole time has been to reduce costs and blah, blah,
That's
blah,
everyone.
blah, blah.
That's everyone's game, not just Ford.
And so you're just kind of telling us, like, here's how we're reducing costs without actually telling us anything about the actual car.
Yeah. And I'm glad, I would give kudos to them that they decided to focus on affordable EVs and not go with $70,000-$80,000 electric vehicles. Let's focus on that $30,000 to $40,000 range. Let's get some EVs out like that, because if you're going to drive an EV, it's going to mostly, be in that range. So I'm curious. I mean, they've done some great things overseas. The Puma is a pretty cool looking vehicle. I mean, if they can do that, just bring the Puma over, make the Puma here. I mean, it's just, that's not like rocket science. I mean, what did we say before? Bring over the Puma and make the Bronco an EV. There you go. You got two things right there. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We've driven Fords; they drive great. I mean, you keep
Mach-E is great. I love the Lightning. Like, great cars. Don't get me wrong, love them.
Yep.
I just can't help but have a slight hesitancy on, like, let me see the thing.
Yep.
And
show
then
me a
I'll
picture.
really
show me
sing
drawings.
praises,
Show me something. Yep.
All right, moving on. This is a real rapid topic. I just wanted to bring this up real quick. Volvo is doing something cool again. I said finally earlier, or should have said again. So you may recall months ago, Joel, we'll see if you remember this. We talked about Volvo and how they were planning to update all of their vehicles from 2020 on to its newest Android Automotive software. And again, this is from 2020 on, so it's a 6-year-old car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's finally here. Volvo has begun rolling out its new, quote, Volvo Car UX system to older models over the air, which should bring major improvements to the vehicle's previous experience, which was okay. You've used the software in an XC40 Recharge before. You said it was
a little glitchy. Yeah.
But this new system is the same one found in the EX30 and the EX90, which, while it still isn't perfect, it is very, at least, usable, it seems.
Yeah.
And I just really want to hype this up just because they're doing this all the way back to 2020.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you see an automaker outside of like Tesla or Rivian do major overhaul software updates for vehicles, especially vehicles that are 6 years old.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have I would love to have the new eGMP software in my car. I'm sure you would too.
Yeah. So. I was about to say, I was like, meanwhile, you and I drive Hyundai Kias that are functionally identical to when they were launched, even though they have gotten updates.
Yep.
They haven't added anything really, but they have gotten updates.
Yep.
Anyway.
Kudos to Volvo. Kudos to Volvo. Hand clap, Volvo. Good job.
Moving on. There's been a new study, and it confirms what we already know. This week, J.D. Power released their, and this is a long one, quote, 2026 U.S. Electric Vehicle Experience Ownership Study, end quote. And it confirms what we and many others have been saying this whole time. J.D. Power found that 96% of current EV owners want to stick with an EV for their future vehicle purchases. This is in spite of removal of federal tax credits. This is in spite of whatever is going on in the current geopolitical market, etc. J.D. Power attributes this success to improvements in battery technology, charging infrastructures, and overall vehicle performance. And again, this just makes perfect sense to me. There's never been a better time to drive an EV, and it is still only getting better despite everything going on right now. There's an increase in high-powered, reliable charging nationwide. EVs are getting cheaper. We've seen automakers like Ford push to release cars that are even cheaper and easier to get into for the average consumer. EV range is increasing over and over and over again. It's pretty rare to see a new EV on the road with less than 300 miles now. The excuses to not drive an electric car are just getting slimmer and slimmer. And so, yeah, this is not a huge surprise to me, but I like having a quantifiable number to be able to say 96% say that they will not go back to anything that's not an EV.
That's awesome. And looking at the study rankings here on the screen, it looks like the Tesla Model 3 ranked the highest overall and highest in premium with a score of 804, followed by the Tesla Model Y and BMW i4. This is what surprises me. The Ford Mustang Mach-E ranks highest in the mass market BEV segment with a score of 760. Second, your car, the Ioniq 6. And third,
Nope,
my
I
car,
don't have an Ioniq
the
6.
Kia. I'm sorry. Sorry. That's not the Ioniq 6 was better than the Ioniq 5. Sorry. Ioniq 6. And the third was my wife's car, the EV9. So interesting. Interesting. I got to read more about this study, but that's interesting. I mean, we've seen this. I mean, I honestly don't know many people who have went to an electric and back to gas. I don't know that many.
Right.
I mean, I can't think of
Yeah.
anyone off the top of my head that has bought an electric car and said, this is not for me. I'm going back to gas. And I'm sure they're out there. Evidently,
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're out there.
5% of them. But yeah, there's just not many. I mean, because once you go electric, you don't want to go back. Like I despise, like when I have to get my son's Model 3, my son's Mazda 3, I'm like, oh, ugh.
Yeah, and what do you get the joy of doing on your son's Mazda 3 this weekend?
Oh yeah, like I got to change the oil. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, what do I got to
still-
change the oil for?
I still maintain you should have bought that boy a Chevy Bolt.
Oh my gosh, he would have ran away if I would have bought him a Chevy Bolt.
Well,
He
if
wanted a
he's paying-
Rivian. He wanted a Rivian. Like, yeah, sure. 16-year-olds out there driving Rivians. I want a Rivian. You are not getting one. But
I'm just
yeah, I
saying,
mean,
you
it's
should have
just
bought him a Bolt. And if he was going to complain, you could have bought him a Leaf.
could have bought him a Leaf. If he was going to complain, could have bought him an i3. Just go down the
There
line.
you go. Hey,
Yeah.
i3 is actually kind of cool. I kind of like the i3.
Yeah.
But
it's funny
anyway.
because if he has to go somewhere, like he's going to Conway tomorrow to pick up something at one of the car stores, he was like, hey man, can I take the EV6? I'm like, why? Man, I don't want to pay for gas. I got to put gas in my car. I'm like, we shall see.
Should have got a Bolt.
We shall see. I may let him because he's a good kid. I may let him take it. So, yeah.
Moving on, Tesla has avoided its death in California. So you may remember a few weeks ago, we talked about a legal battle that Tesla was in over its Autopilot system that could have led to the company receiving a 30-day suspension of its dealer license and its production license in the state of California. Well, we now know that California is pleased, and Tesla is no longer at risk thanks to the company ceasing use of the term Autopilot, and thanks to the company now referring to FSD as FSD supervised. And the timing of all this is just, it's suspect. I'm not surprised, but it's suspect.
It's sus, as the kids would say.
The California DMV set a deadline for Tesla to comply with their order by February 14th. Does that date ring a bell to you? I mean,
It's Valentine's Day.
Because that's the same date that Tesla stops letting you buy FSD outright.
Yep.
And moved it to a subscription-only model. And by doing that, that kind of frees Tesla from the promise that you would be able to have your car drive you autonomously, unsupervised, whatever. Because now Tesla can just cancel your subscription if they decide the car can't meet the promise.
Yep.
Versus being kind of entitled to give you that because you gave them $8,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 at some point. And yeah, and it's just, and this is also fresh off the heels of Tesla deciding they're just not putting autopilot in the cars anymore.
Yep.
As a kind of middle finger to the consumer, it feels like. Because if it was only about the names, they could have just changed the name of the system, which they did. Because if you go on Tesla's website and you look at a used Model 3, Model Y right now, they say they include traffic-aware cruise control with active lane steering. Cool. It's not as catchy as autopilot, but it's descriptive. And it's still a system.
Yep.
Anyway, but we all kind of know that Tesla also discontinued autopilot to try to force people into FSD subscriptions. So, I mean, that, whatever. Anyway, but cool, good for Tesla. They get to live on in California another day, another week, another month until
one of their biggest markets
for something else.
Yeah, I have a feeling if this was like Nebraska, they wouldn't have cared. But it's California.
Well, and it's also had a bit more meat behind the threat because California was also threatening its license to build the cars.
Mm-hmm. Well, technically they don't build them anymore in Fremont, so.
Oh, they still build cars in Fremont for now.
For a little bit, for a couple more months.
Anyway. All right, and you should keep an eye on Polestar.
I'm excited about this.
This week, Polestar shared that they plan to introduce 4 new EVs by 2028. The Polestar 4, which is the newest vehicle in their lineup, and is now also their best-selling vehicle. We'll be getting a new variant, and this is one of the 4 new EVs. Polestar didn't come right out and say it, but you should expect the new variant will be a wagon. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I
Gotta
love
love
me
the
a wagon.
wagons. A
You
good
can also see
wagon.
that it looks like they might be hinting in that picture. It kind of looks to me like that car has a back window.
Yeah, I think
you
it
may
does.
you may remember the Polestar 4 does not have a rear window.
Yep.
It is a camera-only vehicle. And so it's interesting that the wagon might be getting a window. Anyway, Polestar will also be launching the Polestar 5 in Europe this summer. They plan to introduce a next-gen Polestar 2 next year, and then the compact SUV Polestar 7 for 2028. And here's just a question for me. How much of this are we going to end up seeing here in the US? Polestar plans to build the new variant of the 4 in South Korea, so that might open it up to us here in the US. Currently, the Polestar 4 Coupe, which is now what they're calling the Polestar 4, is available here in the US with a starting price of $56,400. Although when I was looking, they're currently offering a $10,000 off. So it's actually $46,400, which seems like a pretty solid deal for a pretty nice car.
And that's for what again? My sound cut out.
The
for a minute.
Polestar 4.
Okay. I mean, that is a solid deal for a Polestar.
And I mean,
4.
it's also their cheapest model available in the US now that you can't get the Polestar 2 here because China. You can also get the Polestar 3 here in the States, which is pretty heavily shared parts with the EX90, which is a phenomenal car.
It is.
And not the EX90, the Polestar 3 normally starts at $67,500, but they're currently showing a starting price of $49,500.
And none of these are built at the South Carolina plant, correct?
I believe that's true. I believe that's correct. Let me double check that, but I think you're right.
I thought there was one model built. Shout out to my hometown that they were built in my hometown. Shout out, got a lot of friends that work there. 2 of them in particular. Shout out to y'all. So yeah, huge plant, and they're adding on to it. It's even getting bigger, and it's already huge. So my thing is the expansion for EVs, or is the expansion for maybe to start producing some of these Volvo EVs in the US? We shall see. So why Sebastian is doing that, don't forget, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button and that notification icon. Yeah.
They do build the Polestar 3 in South Carolina.
Gotcha.
Cool. Which makes sense because I think if I remember right, they build the EX90 there. So, I mean, again, very heavily platform shared car. So, the Polestar 4, however, if I remember correctly, Polestar 4, is currently assembled in China and South Korea. Yeah.
If it's built in China, we ain't seen it. So not yet.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. All in due time, my friends. All in due time.
All right, Joel, tell me about this week.
Oh, so what this week? Monday, we released a video of the Plaid. Probably, I would honestly say, probably won't see more reviews from us on Model X's and Model S's anymore. So probably not. I don't know.
Probably not.
Since they're going away. We've done a lot of S and X the last couple months. So the Plaid may be our farewell bid to the luxury Teslas. But yeah, it's a great car. And and then Wednesday I did an episode, our mini charge episode of the week, talking about hybrid sales and what's going on with hybrid sales and EV sales, and kind of how hybrids are the bridge right now, because basically the early adopters have bought EVs. Me and you were early adopters. We bought EVs. Now we're trying to go mainstream, and that takes a little more convincing, especially with charging infrastructure, getting to know the vehicle. So I think we're kind of like in this recalibration phase right now where people are just taking a minute, kind of like Ford, gathering their thoughts, figuring out what the next steps are going to be. And and right now, I'm not a big fan of hybrids. I don't know if you're a big fan of hybrids or not, but I mean, they're there to help bridge the gap. So
you and I both know my biggest complaint on hybrids is just that now you're having to take care of 2 powertrains.
Yeah.
And all the parts complexity that comes with having 2 powertrains.
Yeah.
And like we were saying earlier, there's never been a better time to get into an EV. And those that make the climb, I mean, 96% of them say they don't want to go back.
Yeah.
And so if it's good for 96% of these people, then it's probably good for you too.
Yep. I mean, there is. I mean, it is. I mean, it's not to a point to where you just get in your car and go. I mean, for people like me and you, we get in the car and go. Like we're
Right.
planning a trip in a few weeks to Dallas, and it's not like I have to. Well, I was like, do we need hotel charge? I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about that. If it's there, it's there. It's not, it's not. I know you kind of look out for it, but just a quick search. There's a Tesla supercharger 6 minutes from our hotel, so
Right.
not a big deal. And I know that I'm not planning it. I know the trip. Now I will, like you said in the video, I will probably take my Kia EV6 to Franklin charging the day before just to make sure that it can DC fast charge, since I had that issue one time. I'm still a little skeptic about that, but yeah. And yeah, I'm glad I checked that, by the way. So yeah, I mean, for people like us who've been doing it a while, there's not much planning. We kind of just get in and go. I mean, I know when you go to, you make your trips to Kansas and stuff like that, you don't
Doing
think
that tomorrow.
you're doing that tomorrow. Have fun this weekend.
Or today, by the time you watch this.
I don't understand. You do those real quick trips like that. My body can't handle that. Like you're up and down in like one day. Like,
yeah, we're going up tomorrow. So Friday. This is a Thursday when we're recording this, and we're coming home Sunday. So,
and how long is it?
6 hours one way.
Oh, that's not bad. So we're leaving on a Monday and come back on a Wednesday, Dallas. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And I think while we're down, we're going to head to Waco it's only 90 miles. So we may head to Waco for a couple of days. But yeah, until we get to a point to where you don't have to think about it, you just get in the car and you just go, knowing that there's enough infrastructure out there. There's enough home charging, and probably until we figure out multifamily homes, complexes, that's the big key. I think that's the holdup, I think, is apartments, condos, and things like that. And there's a lot, especially in this area, especially where I live in South Carolina. They're putting apartments up faster than anything else. So until we figure out that issue, still got some hurdles to get over. But yeah, I mean, for some people, hybrids
this is not, and these are also not challenges that are unique to us in the US.
Nope.
There are solutions to these challenges. We just have to do them.
Yeah.
And get through the hurdles involved in doing them.
Yes. And we've talked about, we're seeing improvements in infrastructure. We are. I mean, more, and I think that's where we're at now in this stage. We're going to let the infrastructure catch up to demand, and we should be good by 2027, 2028 with all these new cars out. We should have the infrastructure in place. We should be good to go. We just got to get through this little...
as software gets better, it gets easier to use. It gets even more, you can just get in and go.
Yep.
Tesla has had that part figured out for a while. If you get into Tesla, you tell it where you're going, and it will get you to your chargers, and it tells you exactly where to go, and no problem. As we see cars have more and more route planning, it just gets easier and easier, as long as it's good route planning.
Yep.
But yeah,
cars are getting better. And I think that's it. I think that's all for this week.
Yeah,
we had a couple products come in that we did some ads for and things like that, but we'll have those. So checking out one of the videos to see when those ad pops up. Yeah, help support the people who support us.
Yep. Monday we'll be releasing finally my 6-month ownership of my Ioniq 5. Mine has a bit of a different tone than yours did. I got a little rambly and a little not angry towards the end, just frustrated. Anyway, it should be interesting. Mine was supposed to come out first, but there was a technical difficulty, and I forgot to transfer the intro of the video off of your phone, and then I needed to get the video uploaded in time, and I didn't get anyway.
Yeah, because that was like one of those we recorded on a Saturday, needed a Monday video. So
yeah, and it was needed to come out Monday, so I just didn't have time to get it all my ducks in a row. So it's actually coming out after Joel's, and so there's going to be a couple of things in Joel's video that reference my video that you wouldn't have seen yet.
Yeah,
and then vice versa.
And thanks to everyone who checked out the Kia EV6 video. That we had a really good views on that. So if you like that video, watch Sebastian's Ioniq 5 video that comes out on Monday.
And compare the two. See what bothers Joel and what doesn't bother me.
There's some similarities, but some differences. So yeah, and I think we may do coming up. We may do a range test on that EV6 too as well. So we shall see.
I mean, you've got how many miles on yours? 60,000?
65,000 miles. So we should see how it holds up.
Interesting to see how it's held up. Yep. We can also do a comparison, get on yours, and see what it reads for battery degradation, things like that.
And probably my car has not been fast charged that much. It's probably less than 10 times my car has been DC fast charged.
Yeah.
So we always just take my Tesla everywhere.
Shape, I hope.
Yep. So we'll see what that's like. We got that planned next week, and hopefully the weather's nice. Hopefully it's not like rainy and 42 degrees, because that's just going to shoot everything.
That'll just ruin our plans, yeah.
We'll just crawl in a hole and die, but yeah.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you enjoy your audio podcast listening, tap that following button, leave us a quick rating, like it, comment, whatever your platform uses. They're all a little different. It really does help us grow, though. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of The Friday Charge.